Hey everyone, and welcome to our bi-weekly reading. My name is Phina, and I'm here together with Shivoso Phoenix.
Hi, everybody.
And Shiv is currently in Mexico on a yoga retreat. And for those of you who are going to stick to the end, he's going to take us maybe on a little tour. So that'll be nice. Like I said, my name is Fina. I bring my readings from intuitive picking up of the energies, and Shivoso brings his gift through astrology and also his intuition. So let's dive into the energy first. What I have for you first is an inner masculine container for the feminine. Well, that might sound like a big one, but it was brought up in multiple situations these past 2 weeks. Like I explained before, intuitives they go through the energies first before it's going to hit the collective. And what was very apparent in the energy was that the inner masculine can set a safe space for the feminine to heal. Last time I talked about the masculine and the feminine energies and that we are balancing that out. And we are still in that energy. What I mean by a masculine container is an energetical safe space, or as I felt it within myself, is the energy of my masculine part creating a holding, a safe space, a safe place for my feminine to move through energy, which was in a healing session that I went through myself. So it was very beautiful also to yeah to feel it this way, that I was really being held. And we often look for something or someone on the outside to hold us, but actually the work is within, and that's what they always say, right? And we go like, yeah, I know. But it is really emphasized at this time that the healing is something that is happening from within, which is good because we are still working through the masculine and the feminine aspects of ourselves that are unhealed. And it's really good for us to check ourselves in the mirror whenever we feel like we're too much in emotion, or when we're not coming from our heart, or really want to do something that is where you feel like, okay, is this pure or am I coming from ego? And when it's coming from ego and you feel all this resistance and you feel yourself maybe bloating up or getting really angry or really sad, or this comes from wounds, of course, and that is something to look into. Where do those wounds come from? What is the way for you to gain clarity on this? And also, what is your path for healing? Now, your intuition can bring you those answers. If you have trouble connecting to your intuition, that's okay, of course. And then you can always ask people to check in with you. You can also check in with me to feel it out intuitively, or you can check in with Shivoso for astrology if that is something that you would like. Then I have feminine energy integration. And this is actually, first it came up just as an image from my guides. And just before the reading, I checked in with them like, okay, what do you want me to say about that? Because you showed me the image and they showed me that the energy is very present, um, and being radiated to planet Earth at this moment. And what they wanted me to say is that through a connection with the heart, we can receive downloads. connected to the feminine energy. So don't take my word for it. Sit down in meditation and see for yourself, because everyone is going to receive this in a different way. It's very personal. What goes for you is different for me, or different for Shiv, or anyone else that is watching this reading. So that is very important. But the energy is very viable at this moment. So um, it's lovely to check in with this. And then getting back to meditation, and it is my last point. Like I said, just before the reading, I was checking in with my guides, and is there something else that you would like me to share? And what they showed me was people meditating, and also a gateway. Um, and what I interpreted, not through thinking, but through feeling, was meditation opens up a gateway into an alternate reality. Now, we've been talking about making a shift, and we can really move this world into a better place. I'm really convinced of that. And they are asking people to sit down in meditation and to watch what happens. What my mind is saying about this is that it's pretty logical. When we sit down in meditation and we can quiet down and we can really open up to listen, only then we will receive the intuitive insights that we are meant to receive. So I'm really curious what it can bring us. And if you're watching this, you can also share this with your friends. You can share our reading, or you can just share this message, because this is not about us. It is about us, all of us, as a collective. So that is all that I have for you. And I'm really curious how this connects to you, Sheep.
That was beautiful. It really does connect. That was, of course, as usual, you hit some nails upon the head pretty well. Um, I'm in a retreat that is really about meditation. And so we've been doing long meditations and doing yoga asanas in meditation for long periods of time. And that opening is definitely there. It's definitely true that as you let go of the mind, then things come in. And they're just thoughts, but sometimes they're just beautiful. And you kind of take a note and then go back to meditation. But yeah, it's been quite a treat to get to do this. And that also lines up with a lot of the Neptunian stuff that's coming up right now. You started out with the masculine and feminine. And so, Mars and Venus are still traveling along more or less together in Aquarius, and they have been for quite some time. But they also just are completing a sextile to the healer Chiron that's been with the North Node all the way through. And I'll mention that as we get into the actual aspects. But by the time we get to the new moon, that's pretty much completed, although we're still got the masculine and feminine moving through Aquarius and trying to find some balance with each other. Even though they're not exactly conjunct, they're still in the same sign together, and that'll go on for a little while. So just to get started, it's actually an interesting time of not as many aspects going on at the same time as we have had in the recent past. Things kind of look more simpler on the charts, but that doesn't mean it's simple, and it doesn't mean it's there's always so much going on right now. In my written report, a friend of mine, her name's Haiku, and she called this the quickening, because we have all been feeling like things have just been really intense. I mean, we went through the fall when it was heavy and dark and hard. And then we moved into this period of time when all the planets are going forward, and it's just accelerating and accelerating. and more stuff is coming up, and some of us are getting kind of wiped out, and some of us are surfing it, and all in between, getting back up on the board. And so a lot of clearing is kind of going on. A lot of that Chiron stuff has been kind of like what we're doing for this period of time. The new moon is on March 10th. And so obviously the sun is conjunct the moon. And at the same time, it's also sextile to Uranus. So you've got this Uranus sextile to the new moon. Uranus is the planet of rapid change, of the unexpected, of innovation, of, you know, things happening that you didn't see coming. And so you got this new moon with this electric, possibly explosive energy, because at the same time, Uranus is squaring Mars. Mars, the planet of assertion, aggression, getting it done, impulsivity, right? So that's kind of an explosive new moon. It's like anything can happen. And it could be really what Uranus longs for is freedom and liberation. And so Mars would fight for liberation, would do something dramatic and, you know, bust down walls. And so it can be a fairly dramatic moment that we're going through, but we're building up to it. You can feel this tension building in the world, that things just have to, something has to break, right? And things have to get, we have to get free from a lot of old school stuff that's been hanging around for a long time. And that's why we're getting so much violence in the world, because the tension is building. It can't be tolerated anymore. So it starts to erupt like a wound that just starts, the pus starts coming out, and it's really hard to live through. It's hard to live with. But that's kind of Chiron, is like, okay, it's been conjunct the North Node, and the North Node is the node of our lessons, our life direction, our dharma, what we're supposed to be here to achieve and learn in this lifetime. And so during this period, the world is receiving the results of its past. And it's coming out as like these painful experiences for everyone. And that's Chiron bringing up the wound, but it's also this opportunity, because even though it's such a thrust to do this, have these things erupt and happen during our lifetimes, it's also an opportunity because the contrast becomes so strong. And people just go, I'm taking a stand one way or the other. We're polarizing in order to balance out. But the polarizing is the hard part. And that's what we're going through. And so that's unfortunately just the way the universe works, is it breathes out, it breathes in. It breaks, it comes back together. So it's a wave cycle. And that's indicated by the planets. And we're just happen to be in a pretty intense new moon period, right? This March is as a setup, because what's also happening is that Jupiter is in Taurus, is coming closer and closer to Uranus. It's just barely coming into orb now. So they're actually starting to really speak with each other. And Jupiter, the planet of expansion and good luck and optimism and the big picture, coming to conjunct Uranus, the planet of explosive change, the planet of enlightenment, of awakening, of destroying things that just aren't working anymore, the bid for freedom and liberation, right? So in Taurus, which is it's an earth sign, it's a very, you know, determined and but also aesthetic sign. It's about beauty and harmony and home and place, you know. I think of Gaza. So the moon is going to be sextile Saturn, and then it hits Jupiter on the 13th. Then it hits Uranus on the 14th. So that moon coming over those two planets as they get closer will kind of like give us a little preview of what's coming in April, because that exact conjunction is April 20th. So we've got a while to go through this period of activated change, of progress towards something better. Jupiter's all about something better. Now it can overexpand, you know, it's got a shadow side too. So Jupiter can cause us to be overconfident, to think we can get away with it, to, oh, it's going to be fine, you know, just go for it. So there can be a shadow side of overdoing it, but the tension's got to break sometime, and sometimes it's better to rip the Band-Aid off than it is to stretch it out over decades and decades of time. So we'll see what happens with this April 20th. But this week, as we head towards the waxing square of the moon with the sun on the 17th, we'll still have this kind of like buzzy feeling, and it, like I said, it can be uncomfortable, but as Phina said, the meditation, some way of grounding ourselves and stilling the nervous system and settling down will really help a lot. If you have that as a practice, getting out in nature and things like that, because we got Neptune. Neptune's doing a few things this week and next week that are going to add. Well, Neptune's a very interesting energy archetypally because it's both the infinite ideal realm of spirit and spiritual practices, but it's also ungrounded and confusing and deception. It's bad dreams. It's also good dreams. It's dreams. It's a very dreamy planet. So the moon's going to trine Neptune on the 18th. And remember, we had on the new moon, we actually had Uranus sextile to the new moon, right? So we've got this Uranus stuff going on, making the changes. Then we have Neptune kind of like either bringing in our highest ideals and our creativity, or it's going to be confusing. So there's going to be a period of time after the waxing square on the 17th when the sun is actually conjunct Neptune. So we'll either feel inspired or listless. Things could be real or imagined. It could be high ideals or confusion. It could be escapism, because that's another Neptunian thing. Like, I want to run away from home. I want to run away from my responsibilities. Like, this is overwhelming. But there are good places to go. Inward, quiet, nature, getting into water, doing your meditation, doing a movement practice. These are ways to kind of get through this. And then don't make any real concrete decisions for a few days after the 17th. Wait till the full moon comes around before you decide on anything. Just be in your feeling, because that's what Neptune is, intuition as well. And intuition can be deceptive, as we all know. But it also, if you're really tuned in, you're going to know, right? So the moon trines Neptune and then the sun on the 18th. And that trine is very, very beneficial. So that could be creativity and imagination. Then we get Venus is conjunct Saturn, while Mercury conjuncts Chiron on the 20th. So the mind and our wound. Really great time for that meditation thing. Venus conjunct Saturn is our desires, our wishes, are what we really want and value, getting some practical application. So if you think of Mercury conjuncting Chiron, we could see some solutions then. It's kind of responsibly facing our healing and what we need to do to seek healing. So there could be some beginnings of resolution, beginning of like, oh, this is what we need to do. Not that we'll get there, but collectively we may start to see some possibilities because of that Venus conjunct Saturn and Mercury conjunct Chiron on the 20th. So the actual new full moon is coming on the 25th. And most of this is actually really good. It's going to feel okay, less intense than it has been, but also still work. We still have work to do. I did want to mention that there are a few aspects that are not quite so yummy as Moon trine Neptune and Venus conjunct Saturn, but they're kind of motivating. There's a semi-square, or what they call a semi-square is a half square from the Sun to Jupiter, and that happens midweek. And like a square, it's kind of motivating and irritating, kind of like a lumpy mattress that you can't sleep on. So it'll be doing that semi-square to the north node as well. There's a quincunx between Jupiter and the south node. I didn't mention that Chiron is conjunct the north node, but it's also opposite the south node, which is why our past is coming up to be healed. Because the north node is we need to clear the decks to get where we need to go, the north node. But what's coming up is our south node stuff that's been stagnant for a long time, old wounds, personal and collective, right? So that quincunx between Jupiter and the south node is going to be a bit annoying too. And that's coming up as we get closer to the actual full moon. There's going to be a couple of quincunxes to that full moon, which is going to, even though it's a pretty nice full moon in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a little but it's also got that Jupiter quincunx. I'll talk about it next week, but it's just also going to be kind of like, there's going to be a few pokes underneath, kind of like a little burrs that we're going to have to deal with. So that's pretty much the astrology for this week. You know, it's a lot of work for our healing collectively and individually, and that's going to serve us. We really do need to get this work done. So it's about not turning away from it and seeking out our support for that kind of healing, because we can't do this alone, you know, but having the insight that we're not doing it well, we can do this better. How do I learn? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? How can we support each other? Those of us who are having a better flow with this, it's kind of like our obligation to reach out to those who are not, that we care about, that we are close to. It's not about saving the world. It's about saving and helping the people close to you who are ready to do that. Yeah, you can't force enlightenment or awakening on anybody. It's, you know, that's just not going to work. But you know, the people who are like, yeah, I'm having a hard time. I just need somebody to say, hey, it's going to be okay. I got you. You know, hey, what do you need? I've got a little extra right now because I've been doing good. I'm on an up wave. You're on a down wave. So yeah, it is about mutual support and reaching out always. It is about us loving ourselves through all of this, because yeah, there's some great stuff coming. I mean, Jupiter conjunct Uranus has this potential, and this is just the beginning of the whole ride for this whole spring into summer. 2024 is a big turnaround, and it can go either way, but it's likely to go better than we think if we do the work. That's what I got to say.
Aho.
Yeah,
I
kind of
really
intense.
feel this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's also so nice that in the summer that we are going to see each other. So we are going to
Yeah,
be
yeah, I'm looking
in those
forward to
good
doing that. We're
times
going to
and
do
then
some,
together.
we'll have some reports where we're in the same room together, which is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
More than fun. It's kind of like a huge gift to be able to do this, and a privilege. And so, yeah, I think this whole trip to Mexico and doing this yoga retreat, that's all I'm doing here, is just this retreat. And um, even though it's in Mexico and it sounds exotic and luxurious, and it is, it's also like, wow, it's like deep work. There's no time off. We're kind of on it. 4 hours of meditative yoga a day, and up at 5:30 to do meditation. And it doesn't feel like that's the hard part. What's really interesting is what comes up afterwards or in between, you know, like yesterday, I was so cranky. I was so disgruntled. Like little things were just pissing me off. And so we're trying to practice ahimsa, you know, nonviolence. But man, was I judgmental. And I was like kind of laughing at myself at the same time I couldn't stop. And I looked and I said, well, oh, the moon just crossed over Pluto at that same time. That was for everybody. So there was a moment there when I was really tuned into the energies, and what was coming up was like my unconscious grumpy old man and my judgmental part, and I couldn't stop it. But because I'm doing this work, I'm able to step back and kind of like observe it and witness it, not act on it, but also kind of like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect me. You know, it's like that. This is an unconscious program of being kind of a, you know, defensive and angry, you know, and it was like, oh, I get it. Well, thank you. But, you know, no, everything's going to be fine. You know, somebody accidentally took the identical shoes that I have from, you know, from outside, because we took our shoes off. And so I ended up with these old pair of shoes, and I had a new pair of shoes that somebody else took. And man, did that just like, it was just fucked with me the whole time. I was like, man, how can somebody be so mindless as, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it was just a pair of flip-flops. And I was like, oh, I can just go get another pair. It's going to cost me like $2. So then I was start to let it go. And I got them back today, no worries. But that kind of thing happened yesterday for sure. So things come up, I kind of get to deal with stuff. We had, there was a lot of people, I don't know how it was for you, Phina, but a lot of people had bad dreams a few days ago. Just like nightmares. I did. It was just awful. I mean, I rarely wake up, in a sweat like that, but I was just like, get me out of this dream because it was awful. And then the next night it was like kind of nice. So, that's Neptune dreams, getting into our thing, but also my kind of like detoxing, finally like really getting some stuff out. So I think collectively that's what's happening. That's what I'm seeing is it seems that collectively our nightmares are coming up, our daymares are coming up to be like held in a different way to recognize, oh, we're just scared, and we're vulnerable and we want safety and we don't know how to do it. We just, so we push back, we fight, we get scared and, don't scare the primates. They tend to go nuts. But we're all
The
scared.
primate within ourselves, you mean?
Yeah, we're all
In
primates. So
ourselves.
we just react like that, And the inner animal is just like, do that first. And then that's why the mind, it's really important to get in relationship with our nervous system and ourselves, not to control it or suppress it, but just to love it and recognize, oh, you've got a purpose. You're just doing it wrong, unskillfully. We can do better because I am a conscious being and I have a choice. We always have a choice. And that's hard to know until you realize, oh, I do have a choice. When you quiet down, you're like, oh, I can indulge this or I can let it go. Yeah.
That's interesting that you're saying that because you were talking about fighting your demons on the yoga mat. At least that's
Yeah.
how you how you put it with me. And I also went through an aspect, in a situation where I really felt like this fiery energy. And I was like, okay, wait, let's just let it be there for a moment. So I didn't push it away. I let it come up and be there, not to take me over, but to be more observing. But man, it was like, okay, 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 come on, bring it on, bring it on. And then it melted away. It was really, yeah, I have to say, really peculiar to notice that way in myself. And with the dreams, yeah, I also recognize that. I was saying to one of my community members that I dreamt about him and me hanging in this climbing harness. And we were on the side of a building and there were spiders. And I told him, like, take it away, take it away. It was a nest of spiders, this really ooey gooey. I'm sorry for people who don't like spiders. I don't want to bring you nightmares. And then he took this piece of bark and he showed it to me, like, you should be really scared right now. And there was nothing. There was actually nothing inside it. So we can get our Freud out and
Right.
analyze this dream for sure. But it was
Let me
it
see.
was a really intense dream, but also the limerence, like the state between, or I don't know if limerence is the right word, but the phase in between sleeping and dream state. How do
Mm-hmm.
you call it? It has a
Yeah,
different
limerence
name,
is
maybe.
good. Makes
Yeah.
sense. That's
Okay.
the edge. Yeah.
Good. And it was, it was almost a little bit trippy, and I never had that falling asleep. It was with a little bit of color and messages, and then I went to sleep. But interesting time,
Yeah,
I
interesting
have to say.
times. We're getting some psychic downloads, and
Mm.
that's great though. Spiders, yeah, for sure. Let's all get Freudian on that one. What does it mean? Tell me about your mother. Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, mine was so horrible. I don't want to tell people about it, but yeah, I was trying to kill a cat and I love cats. So I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, but also that's another kind of Pluto thing, right? Your your darker, heavier, angry side, which is really important, part of your power coming up, you know. And also spiders, you know, we don't have to go into it, but do you want to see what my porch looks like?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you, and I also wanted to say that these spiders, it was really funny. I had this parsnip on my counter, and I
Mm-hmm.
put it in water, and it had these long tentacles, and that's where my mind got the spider legs because they really. Never mind. Let's go to your.
Creepy plants and
Let's go
bad
to the porch.
spiders. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We got plenty of bugs here in Mexico.
Oh, I know.
But actually it hasn't been like anything like um that intense with the bugs, you know. I mean, we're doing a HIMSA, so I did get a mosquito that landed on me during yoga, and it was actually during the lecture. And I decided not to smash it. I let it
Ugh.
I let it light and land on me. And it does this little thing where it's kind of like looking around. So while it was just looking around, I went up, carried it outside, and blew it off. And I felt so good. I was like, wow, that was better than the old smash, you know? And then, oh, look, my karma. Shit, I'm done for. Anyway, those of you who've stuck around to this whole thing, this is the sort of difficult, challenging place that I'm in.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see the ocean, but take you on a quick walk
I'm
out there.
so jealous
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a good way.
There it is. Yeah, there's these birds that fly right here. I'm up high, so I get to see them. Yeah, this is pretty tough to do, you know. Somebody's got to do this hard
I
work,
know. I
right?
see that you are doing the hard work there.
Yeah, really is. Those of you who are experiencing the winter in California, and I'll be back in time to maybe catch the end of it, but we'll see. I'm certainly glad I'm not there right now. I've
Hmm.
I've
If I
had it
were
in
you, I
winter.
would stay a little bit longer.
No, I got to get back. There's things to do, you know. It's like really it is game on because of this Jupiter thing going on. And it's aspecting my Mars, it's conjuncting my Mars, my moon. It's kind of like things are just happening really fast and I got to stay on task and stay focused. So even though I'm here, I'm not on vacation. I am and I'm not, right? And I got to get right back and get right into it because the next thing and the next thing's happening because I feel like those of you who are following this, it's like it is go time. And if you can break free into what you really want to be doing, what you really need to be doing, that's what this time is all about. So you kind of swing it hard while the planets are all on our side right now, you know? Even though, yeah, sorry about those of us, many of us where it doesn't feel like it's on our side. Um, yeah, being alive is really hard, being a human being, so dualistic.
Hmm.
Anyway, my heart goes out to all those suffering right now. And just know that we're sending out prayers every day, knowing that, you know, even scientifically, meditation in groups does work. You know, it does send out something. And sometimes that may be the most effective thing we can do is get into our center and send out peace and love to the world because we can't bomb the world into peace. We can't seem to get the politicians to wake the hell up, you know. It's like this is all it's pretty feels pretty out of control right now. I'm pretty brokenhearted about the whole thing. But this
Hmm.
feels like okay, this is something I can do, you know, a lot amongst all the other things that I try to do to make the world a better place. But I'm no saint, but at least I'm trying. I think everybody is trying to do their best to make it better.
Yeah, beauty, you are.
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
Yeah, I'm super happy too. Hey, okay, folks. Thank you for listening, all seven of you who are our fangirls and fanboys. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Look for my written reports, which have more detail in them. They're on Instagram and also on Facebook and on my website, please subscribe, hit the like button and all the other jazz that people always do. You know, it's like, whatever, you know, marketing, but please, you know, hey, it really lifts our world when we see somebody subscribed or somebody liked the video. So, you know, it's like share the love,
Definitely.
people, you know.
It is those sentences that we barely use because we don't want to do the same thing as we feel with other people's YouTube videos, like, really the marketing. No, we want to go on a flow. But the truth of the matter is that if nobody hits this like or subscribe, then the algorithm is going to say, okay, it's nice that you made a video, but
Yeah.
nobody's going to see it. So beautiful that you added that to it.
Yeah.
And the most important part of this reading is of course you, because we can have a nice chat with just two of us, and we do that frequently. But yeah,
Yeah, if
it's
you
connecting to
make a
you.
comment on our thing, we will answer back because that would be really fun, you know, and any questions you have for sure, you know, and any sharings you have are all welcome. So,
Definitely.
yeah, it'd be lovely to start a conversation with someone.
I love it. I feel a roundup, baby.
Yep, let's do it. Yeah, this is the outro. Love to you all. We'll see you in 2
Mwah.
weeks.
See you next time.